Your most vivid memory is the one most likely to be wrong. Here is the case that proved it. In 1984, in Burlington, North Carolina, a college student named Jennifer Thompson was raped at knife point in her own apartment. She fought to stay calm. She studied her attacker's face, the shape of his mouth, the line of his hairline. She told herself, "If I survive this, I will remember him." She did survive. She picked the man out of a photo lineup. She testified in court. She was certain. 11 years later, the man she sent to prison walked free. The DNA was not his. Her memory was not real. And neither, it turns out, is most of yours. You think memory works like a video camera. Press record. Play back. What you remember is what happened. Every part of that sentence is wrong. Elizabeth Loftus is a cognitive psychologist at the University of California, Irvine. For 50 years, she has been documenting one fact. Memory is not a recording. Memory is a draft that gets rewritten every time you open it. In 1974, Loftus showed people a film of a car accident. Then she asked them how fast the cars were going. She asked some of them, how fast were the cars going when they hit each other? She asked others, how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other? One word changed. Everything else identical. The hit group remembered the cars going about 34 miles per hour. The smash group remembered the same cars going almost 41. Same footage, same accident, different verb. 7 miles per hour of speed, invented by one word. A week later, she brought them all back. She asked, "Did you see any broken glass at the scene?" There was no broken glass in the film. The hit group remembered seeing none. The smash group remembered seeing it anyway. The word planted the glass. The brain manufactured the evidence. This is the principle. Language rewrites memory. A question is not neutral. The way someone asks you to recall an event becomes part of the event. If a single word can edit what you saw 5 seconds ago, here is the question Loftus asks next. Can a single suggestion plant a memory that was never there at all? In 1995, she ran a study called Lost in the Mall. She collected 3 real childhood stories from each subject's family. Then she added a 4th story, completely made up. When you were 5 years old, this story said, you got separated from your family at a shopping mall. A stranger found you crying. Mall security brought you back. None of it had ever happened. 25% of the subjects came back with a full memory of being lost in the mall, not just agreeing it happened, remembering it. They added details no one had given them. The color of the stranger's shirt, the smell of the food court, the feeling of being scared. A childhood scene assembled from one fake paragraph. In the year 2000, a neuroscientist named Karim Nader found the mechanism. Imagine your memory is a book on a shelf. To read it, you do not just glance at it. You pull it off the shelf, you take it apart, and to put it back, you have to glue it together again. The glue is whatever was in your head when you opened it. The mood, the suggestion, the person in the room. Every recall is a re-glue. The book goes back on the shelf changed. This means the memory you trust the most, the one you have recalled the most often, is also the one that has been edited the most times. Your most vivid memory is your least reliable. Back to Jennifer Thompson. After the attack, detectives showed her 6 photographs. She studied them. She picked one. The man's name was Ronald Cotton. Then they put Cotton in a physical lineup with 5 other men. Thompson picked him again. Detectives said, quote, "We thought that might be the one," end quote. She heard that. Her certainty hardened. In court, she was asked, "Are you absolutely sure?" She said yes. She had no doubt. The jury believed her because she believed herself. Cotton was sentenced to life plus 54 years. He served 11 years. Thompson kept her certainty intact the entire time. She testified again at a retrial. She picked Cotton's face out of a courtroom and said, "That is the man." In 1995, DNA testing matched a different man. His name was Bobby Poole. He was already in prison, serving time for a string of other sexual assaults in the same town. He and Cotton had crossed paths inside. At one point during those 11 years, investigators showed Thompson a photo of Poole. She felt nothing. Her memory had locked onto the wrong face so completely that the real attacker could not break through. The Cotton case is not an exception. The Innocence Project has used DNA evidence to exonerate over 375 wrongfully convicted people in the United States. In roughly 7 out of 10 of those cases, the original conviction was driven by eyewitness misidentification. The witnesses were not lying. They were remembering. The remembering was wrong. You might be thinking, sure, but I would know if it happened to me. The biggest event of my life. I would remember that one clearly. In 2009, a psychologist named William Hurst tested exactly that. He tracked how Americans remembered September 11, 2001. He surveyed them 1 week after the attack, then 3 years later, then 10. 40% of the details they reported changed over time. The room they were in, the person who told them. The order events occurred, but their confidence stayed the same. The memory felt more vivid as it became more wrong. Confidence is not accuracy. It is the brain rewarding you for keeping the file open. The clearer the memory feels, the more times it has been edited. You now carry a device that asks you to recall and reshare your life constantly. The photo from 5 years ago, the throwback, the anniversary reminder. Each one is your phone, handing you a memory and asking you to open it. And every time you open it, the glue gets a little wetter. The caption you write becomes part of the day. The filter you choose becomes part of the light. The friends who like it become part of who was there. Your social media is not a record of your life. It is a 15-year reconsolidation experiment running on you. Here is the cost. The version of your childhood you can describe most easily is the version you have edited the most. The friend you remember as a betrayer was probably more complicated than that. The argument you won in your head was probably closer than that. The person you have decided you used to be is mostly a draft, which means the version of you who is angriest about your past is also the version who has rehearsed it the most. The grudge gets sharper every time you tell it. The memory that hurts the most is the one you have edited the most carefully into a weapon. The most honest thing a person can say about their own past is, I remember it this way, not, this is what happened. Loftus has spent her career writing one sentence in 1,000 forms. The vividness of a memory is not evidence of its truth. If this changed how you think about your own mind, the next case file goes deeper. Stanford, 1971. 24 ordinary students, 6 days. The experiment that had to be shut down. Subscribe. Mindstatic.